Hello, and I'd like to welcome you to the Money Charts channel. It is that of 8:23 a.m. Eastern Time, Crypto Day Sunday, and it's the third day of June. This is the Crypto Day morning, and the start of it will be that of Bitcoin and Litecoin. I'll give a sneak preview. Well, just a quick, boring look, and I really do mean boring, or low volatile, as far as the altcoin Bittrex portfolio that I am working on it, which isn't really doing much, although in a low volatile level it is. Okay, Bitcoin. Well, it's looking at it on the large perspective again. It was a dynamic rally, obviously, to conclude the year 2017. And it topped basically right at the end of the year, shortly after, or the middle of December, around the 17th. Then a nice, decent high just 1 week into January. Those are the highs so far for the current year. Interesting question, one may ask. What is the odds one should lay, or one should offer, in a proposition line wager? Will Bitcoin make new all-time highs this year? Will it break above 17,000? And of course, you don't want to be specific with a number. Will it go over 17,000? Will it go over 17,500? Or whichever number you choose. What are the percentage chances that it happens? In any type of spot where it's able to get above these two key levels, two key resistance barriers. And when we look at the Litecoin chart later on, I'm going to show you an exact example of what this pattern will look like. So that is the thing. If it gets above it, that means time becomes an interesting aspect. It doesn't take long, obviously, to get there. It didn't take long for it to go from where it is now on the breakout to this high. Because when we look back at it even further, I'm going to scroll back to here. I'm going to observe the date of the price, see how close it is to the current level of around 77, and how long did it take? So back then, its big 77 level was, well, it's on the line right now. So it was a level of this resistance here, which 78.88. And then when it went, leaving, we'll say, or you're just entering this range, November the 16th to December the 17th, basically 1 month. So that's how fast, when it wants to move, that it is going to be able to do so. Let's now take a look at this for how we are looking now on the situation. Litecoin's going to look very interesting when we look at the shorter term charts compared to Bitcoin, but I know today's day isn't closed yet. This is 4 in a row up, and that doesn't really mean much, but it kind of does. Had this big green candle up and a small red down consolidation, but it really matched its previous red day down as it continued its correctionary phase amongst the 18 average. And as we see in here, when you reject it, not every time, but oftentimes it can do stuff like this. So it's at least successed and passed the test of the 18 lows. Now it's attempting the test of the 18 highs. But instead of rolling over, you had another day like this, pausing it, but making new highs every single day. Yesterday, a very bullish session that managed to make it up close to the 18, and now it is there. When we look at what the numbers happen to indicate, and the numbers are on the left-hand side here in the blue. Yesterday, the 18 average of lows, and both were declining at 74.11, and the highs at 77.54. 74.10, and actually on another one it is barely above it. So on this is Bitstamp, if we put this quickly, and it doesn't matter from here on in which chart I'm using because I'm done with the long term. And I like Bitstamp because it's got more data. And Bitfinex has got some as well. 18 lows here, 74.07 change, and yesterday it was 74.06 and change. So this one's barely rising, the other one's barely declining. It's flat. 18 average of highs yesterday was, or today is 77.54. Yesterday it was 77.88. So it's still declining, but you know what? It's at the point now where it's flattening. And I'm going to answer you one question for why I like the 18 or any period, whether it be that such, but the weighted moving average over that of a simple or an EMA is because each period has different values. A weighted means if I'm doing 18 periods, I want to multiply this number by 18, the previous by 17, the previous by 16, so on and so on. Then I'll take the sum of the numbers and I divide the numbers by the sum of 1 to 18. But it means that it gives more credential value to this. And if the price increases throughout the day, that's going to make the highs for the day currently in at 77.79. You can see that on the upper part in here. That it will go higher. The 18 average would also go higher along it within it. So breaking this test of the 18 means that you're making a test to revert the trend, because a price action moving significantly higher than the line would mean that not only the 18 would start to go flat, but it would start to rise. And so be it, the 18 and highs will in tune as well. And then within the test of the reversal of trend, you're going to want to see, or how is it going to react within it? Because there's so often times that you can have moves that go above it just one spot, then it's going to come back to the 18, and it will never see the light of day above the high again until it has a decent price correction lower. I mean, that's what happens on some cases, but when I see the attempt, that's why I'm looking to see how it holds when it has its first correctionary test. And this video's got some time to go because I haven't even gotten to Litecoin yet, so let's just quickly go over this on a more shorter term time frame. 3-hour term. This is a very interesting situation situation. I like to do this, just draw the key lows together like this, and you can do the same thing with the highs, work with the trend. Okay, now it's over, and I mean, it's a smiley face, it's a whatever, but it has been showing this key point, and now this key point. It's already looking to make a move, or are we looking to break it out? Are we looking to find some support amongst, say, this level here? Well, yeah, it's a pretty decent pattern, but it's in early stages of anything like that. For if we look at the line, well, just this high here, it is barely above this. So it has managed to get to levels not seen last since May the 23rd. And doesn't mean much, but it is mean it's above all these highs, because there was this level of resistance. Then there was this level here, which of course we had a nice consolidation on it just throughout last night and in the morning. Then there was this level here and to this level. Obviously, we can see that that situation yesterday was at support. So now you're going to start talking about a gap fill, some of this level. Now, what you can do is key resistance, Fibonacci, from this high to this low. Now, I'm not going to do it because I'm going to do this exact same thing into Litecoin on the exact same time frame and situation. And what I look to do myself is I take the high, and in this case, we're looking at 10,000, divided by the low, which is a little over 7,000. So we're looking at about, you'd be 7 into 10. That would be about 1.3, but whatever. And then you would take it to the root of the key numbers. I like 23.6, 38.2, 61.8, and 76.4. And actually, it doesn't take much time to just quickly do it. 70, 50, and 10,050. So the numbers I'll be looking at would be first off at 76.65, and then again at 8,073, then again over 87.77, and then again at 92.43. And if it's able to break out above that resistance and make a nice little run, I'll be looking for an up target at 12,512. And I'm going to use that here because I want to see a uptrend go down. And quite frankly, that's exactly what this is, because this low is higher than this, and that defines and such, and then this high here. Now, I would look towards more other areas for that Fibonacci point, because you have a 7,900 variable, and I haven't got the lines in for that, but there are other key levels that were drawn in here that I'd be looking at. But that is where we'll be playing that. Now the current price is 77.90, so we can see that it is basically at 76.65. Let's take a look at that next on, say, a 1 hour time frame. Well, it qualifies to me as, well, it was interesting how that level is played out. If there's going to be any more leg lower, I mean, it could just have a small pierce or move down to that level, and then I'd be looking for it to go up to its next point at 8,073. Litecoin is next. And against Bitcoin, it's barely up to 164. I mean, it's up well on the long term. It's down decently throughout the year in the Bitcoin cross. And when we look at this quickly, some more 400-minute time frame. It's a nice little pattern in here when you see the down slope that was occurring in the third week of May, making another repeat low. But it's established. You can call this double, triple bottoms. It's the same sort of thing as the inverted head and shoulders pattern. They all have the exact same reasoning for its situation and on the break of key resistance. And it's pretty much at that point, and it's barely broken that resistance. So when I'm saying a clear break above that resistance, we're getting close, but not quite there yet for this big level. But this is a spot where, oh my goodness, this could go up fast, even to this line at 169 in like a minute or three, or as a quick move, that is. And that's bullish and not a surprise within the pattern. But the pattern could very easily have this thing price correct and come back all the way down, even to the 18 of lows or 18 of highs area, and then just keep showing this nice bullish U-shape, curve shape, smiley face type of a pattern in place with the 18 rolling higher. And then, I mean, either way, those things can play through. Daily term time frame will be next on the chart. And it's just barely getting above the 18 average of highs. Again, down well since this high, but up well since the December lows. Let's take a look at this against the dollar. And on the daily, Bitcoin, of course, is up to the 18 average of highs, where Litecoin is breaking out past that level. It is basically a third hit. So the one thing that I want to mention about technical analysis is each time we come down to a specific area, you retest. You come in, you make a very good rally. So therefore, you filled this gap in here to the complete bottom. And then you make another rally, but it's lower. And then you come again back down the bottom. Each time this does this, I'm going to be weary and weary amongst the moves. So if it comes in and makes another lower high rally, it can go up a decent amount and still do such a thing. So when I talk about the Fibonacci that I go over, it's important, and I'll be doing this in the next 5 minutes. I'll be basically stating that if it fails within its Fibonacci run, and you start to see that this market is having a good rally and then having a poor breakdown after that, or it just starts to falter in, that the seriousness of breaking down below this would mean significant moves, and it would mean, of course, this going much lower and Bitcoin going much lower and so on and so forth. But it's a good indicator to use to see for such an event to occur. So let's continue on. Let's take a look at this on the shorter term time frames, a 400 minute. Okay. So there's a down move. We can also see in here that this had like an inverted head and shoulders kind of pattern, and it's looking like to be breaking it nicely. So let's take a look at that more in depth. But this would actually be a good time to look at the Fibonacci situation here, because we have a spot with a major low at about 110, hit not only in April but most recently, and we have a high in at about 184. So let's take a look at the Fibonacci from those two levels. And I won't put the decimals in because it really doesn't matter. It's all about being in that area as it is anyway. But around 124, 134, 151, and 163. I'm going to minimize that and do my best to memorize those numbers. So first I'll put a horizontal array. 124 is the most lowest one. So I'll format it, which is basically the current one. The next one is 134, but we're in at 132. So why don't we just do the highest at 163? That would be easiest, I think. And then we'll do the second highest after that, and then the we didn't want to do that. Place horizontal array. But then yeah, we'll do the second highest at 151, then we'll do the 134 after that. Okay, now my little trick for remembering those numbers was actually pretty cool. I just put it on the right hand side so I could see it. I actually, it was on my computer the whole time since I wrote it down just seconds ago. What did happen here? This is like everything that I got. Okay, well that was weird. So now that we're looking at this with the key Fibonacci lines, let's take a look at this on the single hour time frame. And these were key levels, basically starting with this low, but this resistance was a perfect hit. Resisting this point, breaking out above it. Now, if there's going to be any deeper pullbacks, we're at 127.40 right now. If this goes down to 124, well, I'll be very interested to see the level of buying that comes in here. It's already broken enough around here that if weakness does come around here, thus showing the failed breakout, this is a very serious spot to have it. So you really don't want to have this on a bullish level. Of course, the upside potential is the next high in at 134. That's the 38.2% level. It happens to coincide with the support from May 11th and a week later around the 17th. The 151 area was the level of the May 14th highs and the May 8th lows. And basically speaking here, when you're this 151 to 163 range is huge, because showing that it's able to hold above this and make it to the previous high near 180. And let's move this back to a daily, I guess. If it's able to put the price in and around here and then make it above, then you'd be starting to talk about these patterns. Which would then start to curve over because we'd be talking about price action above here. And you'd have that happiest face type play, especially if this happens into July, August. It would have a more bullish pattern forming along the way. And like I mentioned in Bitcoin, how fast these moves can happen. And when they can go fast, especially when you have bullish setups. So that's the whole point of me saying this, that this would not be giving those monstrously great prices people are waiting for, but it would be opening the setup doors for such a case. And oftentimes you're going to get the magnificent moves when you're in a beautiful bull market or you're setting up for one. Especially like in here, I'm looking at the breakout here, December 14th. This is when Bitcoin was near its high. But this price was 105. And then on December the 13th, just like 3, 4, 5 days later, it's 300. Tripling in less than 1 week. It's got that potential. And I can now even just go back and look at, well, how often in the past has it done it? Well, let me just change the exchange. And this will be the final bit of this video. And these quick morning videos have become quite the opposite. But as I've stated, I'll be presenting them to how I think it is needed to be done. So let's go to, where's Poloniex right here, because they got more data. Actually, I don't want to do weekly because then, so in here you go from like 103, yeah, we've just shown that before. But last year you go from $4 and change to 8 in 1 day. This is March 30th, April 5th. So in 1 week, you go from 4 and change up to 13. And then you break this level of resistance here. May the 3rd, it opens at 1720. May the 10th, it gets up to 39.18. And even if you look at it from this point of view, oh, we have this big moves opening at 430, price that is, on May the 30th, or March the 30th, going 430 to 39 in a little over 1 month. And it had obviously more upside movement after that for multiple levels. So it's had a very good correction. So any type of breakout where you have the situation of point A low, point B high, amongst point B, within the move to point A to point B, you had several small price corrections. You had a time correction. And after you finished off the great, back then the great price correction, and back then the great time correction, which meant that from point low to point high, the best price correction down was here, and the best time correction was here. So after you had a good price and time correction, you have a spectacular gain. This price correction surpasses this. This time correction surpasses this. So again, when I talk about any type of bullish setups that bring any of the happy face pattern in place, when you have the breakouts on such an event, especially because this is still in a bull market, when you got point A low, point B high, point currently C low, which was higher still, which is still higher than the previous great time and price correction of last year's rally. Thank you for tuning in and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.